Hey everybody, Ronnie here with the Amazing Aurora app, and I'm really excited that version 5 is pretty much in final beta testing. So the final release candidate has been sent out to the beta test group, and we are testing this new version 5 out to see if everything works as expected. So some big changes in version 5. There's been a couple of big additions that were garnered from feedback from users. And the biggest update is going to be the switch from just a solely free version of the app to a freemium version of the app. So freemium, you download it, you get everything basic for free. And then for $10 a year, which is about 83 cents a month, somewhere in there, you can unlock all the features in the app. So you'll notice on the left hand side I have an Android version running, and it is in the free version, and the iOS version on the right is in a subscription model. So I wanted to be able to showcase both versions of the app so you can see really what you're going to get with a subscription. So the free version, ad supported, has that one little ad down on the bottom, and the paid subscription version on the right hand side, both of them go to help support and pay for the app and its development. So whichever version you choose, thank you for your support, thank you for using the app, and thank you for everybody that's provided feedback that has gone into this next newest, greatest version of the Amazing Aurora app. So let's get started. On the left hand side there on the Android, you'll see the free version just has the one button at the top, the reload button. The reload button was a request because if you had the app in the background for an extended period of time, that screen would go white, and you would either have to toggle off of the screen to another screen or close the app out completely, reopen it, and you would get your data back. So really kind of a nuisance. And so the answer to that was this reload button at the top of the screen. So you click that and it will reload that screen immediately. On the right hand side, you'll notice the subscription model. So you've got more buttons at the top. This is where you get access to the clouds, which gives you basically the next 8-hour forecast for cloud cover temperatures. Also gives you a 5-day forecast. This data is pulled from AccuWeather, so it will display up to 8 hours of weather information and then the next 5-day forecast for really the nighttime forecast, so roughly after about 5 p.m. And these are average cloud forecasts, so just because you see like 94% doesn't mean it's going to be that cloudy all night. That's just an average cloud cover for the evening. The reload button works on all of these tabs. So if you do sun and moon and hit reload, it'll reload that. Again, for the sun and moon and the clouds, that's just going to be reloading what's currently out there, because these refresh. The hourly goes once an hour, 5 days twice a day, and the sun and moon is once a day. So reload's not going to do much for that unless you've got a white screen. The solar wind data, that reload button will pull the latest data that's out there. This screen auto refreshes every minute anyway, but if you want to refresh it quicker, you can just hit that reload button and do that. So that's the main screen with the changes and the big change between the free version and the subscribe version. If we go to the charts page, we'll actually see some bigger changes. So on the charts page, charts screen, you'll see the top is pretty much the same for both. You've got the KP, the BZ, the BT, density, speed, HPI, which is your hemispheric power, and your reload button. So that reload button works just like it does everywhere else. It just reloads the current page that's loaded in there. So, but you'll notice on the subscription version down at the bottom, you got 3 buttons down there. So -6 hours, now, and +6 hours. So what this does is it allows you to step back and look at data in the past. And this was a request to be able to go back and kind of look closer at some data when we have solar events come through, because not everybody's awake when they happen, and sometimes you want to go back and just see exactly what was going on. So you can step through the different values. You can go back 36 hours all the way back to about a day and a half ago. And if you want to return to the current data, you just hit now, and you're right back where you started. So that's a big difference on the charts page between the free version and the subscription version. We've also got some changes on the Ovation page. So in the Ovation screen, you'll notice on the free version, all you're going to get is just the one snapshot. So you're going to get what's going on right now for the Ovation model. So the picture on the top and the map on the bottom. And then in the subscription version, we actually have the buttons that have been there for a while now. So 1 hour ago, 30 minutes ago, right now, 30 minutes from now, and an hour from now. And once again, you'll see that reload button too. So the reload button exists on both, and that's because any page that loads some resemblance of a web page is going to have this reload button. And that's because if those pages hang, rather than having to force close the app, you just have the option to reload data right from the screen, and it's going to reload whatever the last page was you looked at. So reload button will just refresh that web viewer for you. And then the toggle switch there is for the north-south hemisphere. So if you want to go to the southern hemisphere, you can toggle that button, and it'll flip it over to the southern hemisphere. You can toggle it back, and it'll go to the northern hemisphere. And I do apologize for the Android screen being slow. The emulator is not the greatest, but it's the best way I have to show both versions at the same time. The next big update is the Reports tab. So when you go to the Reports tab, on the free version, it looks like it has all along. You have yes, no for reporting if you're seeing the Aurora activity, and then once again, there's the reload button. That gives you the option to reload the page. On the subscription version, a feature request that was asked about was the ability to go in and filter reports for yes and no reports, as well as being able to go back and look at historical data. So on the subscription version, you can step back 12 hours at a time, and that'll take you back 36 hours. You can go back and look at all of the data, and you can toggle your report filters. So if you don't want to see any no reports, you can toggle it yes. If you want to see all the no reports, you can toggle no. And if you want to see all of them, you just toggle all. And you can go back and forth 12 hours at a time. You'll see the time update, the number of reports. It'll pull everything from the database. And then if you want to go back to what's going on right now, you just hit the now button, and you're right back where you started. And again, the reload button is going to reload that data viewer for you. So that's the reports screen, and the big changes there. Nothing really changed on the guide and the gallery or the about screens, so all of that pretty much stayed the same. No major updates to those. You can check those out. Still have the contact details out here. You can use this information to get in touch with me about the app. So if you have any questions, problems, concerns, you can reach out via Twitter, email. You can send a text message, or if you want to get on the Facebook Messenger, you can reach out that way. I've actually gotten a lot of feedback on the Facebook Messenger. It's actually how I got the feedback on being able to do a feature that I'm going to talk about here shortly in the settings screen. So settings screen got a big overhaul between the free version and the subscription version. So if you go to the settings screen, you'll notice some big changes here. So on the left hand side here with the free version, you basically just have a minimal set of notification options. So you can get notified of KP events, favorable conditions, and that's pretty much it for your notification settings. Summer silence is there, so if you don't want to get any notifications during the summer months, you can turn that off, or turn it on. Sorry, if it's on, it'll silence all notifications during the summer months, so you won't get anything. If you toggle that off, it'll alert you of activity during the summer months. I like it. I just like to know KP. I like to watch solar data over the summertime anytime, so up to you. Completely customizable. And then you have the screen awake option, which allows you to keep the screen on if you are watching your phone while you're out chasing Aurora. It's actually pretty handy to have your phone on. You don't have to keep opening up the screen and unlocking it. You can just leave it on, keep it awake. On the right hand side, you'll see all of the options that unlock with a subscription. So we've got the KP events. You can toggle that on. When you toggle that on, what that's going to do is, this was a feature request that came through Facebook Messenger, but being able to fine tune the minimum KP value that you'll be alerted to in the app. And so you can toggle this anywhere from 4, which is the minimum that the app will send alerts for, all the way up to 9. So if you live in an area where 4 is not really that big of a deal, but you need 8 or 9, you can set that to there, and you will not get alerted until KP reaches that value or higher. So the other options being added, and still working on this, by the way, but solar storm predictions. So when NOAA kicks out their space weather prediction for geomagnetic storming, you can get alerted for that if you want to turn that on. And then favorable conditions, and then the Aurora sightings has been moved to the subscription model. So with that, if you've got that turned on, if somebody reports Aurora activity within 30 miles of your location, you will get notified that it's happening. And then you still have the same screen awake setting there. And then you'll notice this location settings. So this was another feature that was requested by a user through Facebook Messenger. And so if you're subscribed and you click on that location settings tab, it's going to give you a screen that looks like this, where you can select anywhere in the world that you want to be. And you can just tap on the screen wherever you want to go. You'll see the location update there as you move around the world, and put yourself anywhere you want to. You can turn it off and go back. You can initiate it by tapping on the screen, or you can tap the custom toggle there and then tap on the screen. So made it pretty easy. You can just tap anywhere on the screen to start it, and it'll flip that toggle. You can set yourself anywhere in the world. So we can put ourselves in Greenland, and then if you go back to like your ovation model, you'll see we are now in Greenland versus Alaska. And so that location reverberates through the entire app. So the one thing to note though is, if you turn on the custom locations, it's going to disable your ability to report Aurora activity. So you can't tap those buttons. They're completely disabled. And that's just to prevent anybody from going anywhere in the world and saying that they're seeing activity when they're not. So if you go back there, you can toggle it off, put you back to your current location. And for some people, you may not want to share your location with the app, and that's completely understandable. And that's why the custom location settings was kind of an important piece for me to add to the app, is to allow people to set whatever location they want. And you can zoom in if you just want general location. So I just want to go to Anchorage. I don't want to share my location, then you can set it there and you are good to go. If I turn that off and I go back to reports, you'll see my buttons are now active again. So another thing that was added to the reports tab was a confirmation screen, because there's been a lot of yes reports when activity hasn't been going on, and not sure if that's just people testing out the app or if they're actually meaning to submit yes reports during the daytime. But what will happen now is when you hit yes or no, it will say you are submitting a live report. Do you want to do it? If you hit cancel, it'll cancel it out and nothing happened. If you're sure you want to submit a report, hit confirm, and your report was received. And there it is, 10:44 p.m. from Eagle River, Alaska. Now, the subscription feature over here on the left hand side, if you want to subscribe, you can just hit the subscribe now button and it will subscribe you. If you have multiple devices, and this works on both Android and iOS, if you have multiple devices, that's awesome. Your subscription will work on any device that's linked to the same account. So if you have an iPad and an iPhone, you're using the same Apple ID, your subscription will work. If you're using an Android phone and an Android tablet and you subscribe, your subscription is good on any Android device that you're logged into with the same Google account. So all you have to do is hit subscribe now, and then it'll give you the price, $9.99. You click on that, and it will bring up the subscription screen. Now, you'll see it saying this because I've already subscribed on my tablet, so this is a perfect example where I can go back in and I can show you the restore purchase feature. So if I hit restore subscription, it should pull my current subscription, and my purchase is complete. Now these test subscriptions are only good for a limited time, so I hit OK. Screen should refresh, and there's all my options. Now when your subscription expires, or if you're not subscribed, you're gonna have to go in and reset all your settings. Make sure you've got everything that you want to, the way you want it set up. I'm gonna toggle this KP off because it should pop up the screen for me. Let me get off this screen and go back. The Android emulator is a little slow, so there we go. So here's your minimum KP value. So I can set that up to like 6. And then you can go into location settings if you want to. And you'll see how my subscription status updated down here with my, when I restored my purchase. So there's the location settings screen. And the settings, so anytime you open up the settings screen, it's automatically going to sync with the server. So and every time you toggle one of these, it's going to send an update back to the server to update your settings. So one way to make sure that all your stuff is synced is to check this date on here. If you open up that screen, it should be pretty close to the current time. If there's an error, it should report an error back to you on there, but that's one way to make sure that all your stuff is appropriately synced. So that's version 5. That's the app as it's in testing right now. I'm hoping to launch this before Christmas, but we will see. Take some time to make sure all of the subscription features are running okay and that there's no bugs, other bugs to work out. Found several just in the last week working through some stuff, and so really want to make this an enjoyable app for everybody and something that everybody will use as they're chasing the Aurora, or at least keeping an eye on the solar wind data for Aurora activity. So thank you for watching the video. If you have any inputs, any suggestions, just go to the About tab in the app. You can contact me these ways: so Twitter, email, text message. Hit me up. I'm pretty responsive to most feedback. If I can do it, I will incorporate it, as long as it's not something that's just crazy. But a lot of good ideas that came in from version 4 to version 5. So keep the feedback coming. And once again, thank you so much for using the Amazing Aurora app and making it as popular as it has been over just the last really 10 months. So appreciate it, and keep an eye out on YouTube for more videos as we chase Aurora this season, and more pictures on Facebook, Twitter. Follow me on Instagram, Amazing Aurora 21 on both Twitter and Instagram. And thank you very much.